Today, I will show you how to grow your back and shoulders using the RP Strength Hypertrophy app to program the next 9 weeks of my very own training. My name is Andres and I've been working out for nearly 20 years and I can't wait to share some of my knowledge with you today. With the RP Strength app, I'll be able to structure the next 9 weeks of my training to make sure I hit the muscles properly that I want to emphasize, grow, or maintain. The app will progress me through the weeks to make sure that I'm growing my back, my shoulders, and my quads with the highest amount of volume. While at the same time, it's going to grow my chest, my hamstrings, and my biceps at a more moderate pace volume-wise, increasing less sets and less reps than I would those other muscles that I mentioned earlier. And lastly, it will ensure that my forearms, my abs, my triceps, and my glutes remain the same or maintain while not increasing my volume at all or very frequently. That right there is exactly the benefit of the RP Strength Hypertrophy app. It's like having Dr. Mike in your pocket at all times, helping you progress through each muscle that can give you the best amount of progressive overload to target the muscles that you really want to target. Again, for me, being the back, shoulders, and legs. I don't care about calves, by the way. Now, with all that being said, remember to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and you give me a little comment at the end of the video and letting me know what you'd like to see next. My YouTube journey is pretty new, so if you want to give me some feedback in the comments, I would also really appreciate that. Now, with all that being said, let's dive right into the RP Strength app and see what it takes to program this build. Now, before we get into the thick of this thing, I want to go over a couple rules that I've laid out as I've been thinking about what I'm going to do in the future. So I'm going to be working out 6 days a week. Why am I doing that? Just to get a lot of volume in and have my training sessions be shorter. So this would be like some high volume training, just with tons of frequency. I'm going to add overhead squats. The reason I'm adding overhead squats is so that I can continue to train my quads and get a lot of stimulus to my shoulders. Holding a bar over my head is not like the most stimulating thing for my shoulders, but it can make this movement really compound and it can save me a ton of time in giving stimulus to both my quads, my glutes, and my shoulders at the same time. It's not the most muscle promoting, but it is something that's gonna keep my gym time down. And I'm a big fan of that considering I'm working out 6 days a week. If I was working out 4 days a week, then I want maybe sessions to be 4 hours long, but because I'm doing 6 days a week, I want to keep my sessions to about an hour and a half at most. And that's why the exercise selection or amount of exercises is down and the frequency and the amount of times I train is up. Going back into that same topic is with deadlifts. Now, deadlifts are going to train my hamstrings, but they're also going to train my back. If they're heavy enough and they're low enough in volume, the tensing of my back, the holding of the position of a good deadlift is going to train in isolation my upper back while still giving me a really good pump to my glutes and my hamstrings. Again, just a big compound exercise, which by the way, takes up a lot of time. And because it takes up a lot of time, we want to make sure I don't have 6 other exercises after that, right? The next 3 exercises after that deadlift, which will probably be at the beginning of the workout, is going to allow me to some sets that are really easy, such as arms or some shoulders or like lateral raises. Another reason that we have 6 days a week is because I want to be able to do 2 workouts at home with Twitch chat on stream. I want to be able to work out at least twice while in the comfort of my own home. Doing cable movements for chest at the gym. Heavy barbell pressing has been hurting my right delt a little bit, so cable movements have been much better at protecting my shoulder and not making it so that I am in joint pain here in the front delt. Other part that we're going to do is a lot of dumbbell pressing is going to happen at home because that's mostly what I have in my house. I have dumbbells, I have adjustable dumbbells, and I have an empty barbell. Can't really be doing squats yet, can't really be doing heavy barbell movements at home, so I'm saving those for when I go and actually get to the gym the 4 days a week out of the 6. We are in the training.rpstrength.com website. If you want to get into this app yourself and use it for your training, make sure you go to my link in my bio, or you can go ahead and go to the website itself and use the code Brotero to get 20% off. One of the things I want to touch on about my rest that is not necessarily going to mean because I'm working out 6 days a week that I am going to do Monday through Saturday and then hit Sunday rest. I'm not really going to program my rest days. What I'm going to do is label everything by day, just day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then if I need a rest day after 2 days of training because I'm really sore, then I'll take that rest day. And I may not get all 6 workouts that week, but what I'm actually doing is not 6 days a week necessarily, is what I'm doing is just programming 6 different workouts that I'm going to cycle over 4 weeks before I deload and take some time off of all of those exercises and some weight off of those exercises to then go back up and revamp up my progressive overload. With our task and with our checklist gone through, let's get right into building this thing. So let's head over to the RP Strength app. Right, so let's get right into this. We are in the plan a mesocycle phase right now. This is the part where you click on mesocycles, you get to plan a mesocycle. And what we're gonna do this time, this is a new feature actually. We are gonna do a meso builder. This is that third option here. Build a meso based on your muscle group priorities. Why are we doing this? Because we wanna make sure we tackle the priorities. We don't want to just build something from scratch because that's gonna take too long. We don't wanna copy a mesocycle because I've never used this feature before. So I wanna see what it bumps out. And I don't wanna use a template either, even though that's fast. This meso builder is going to ask me enough questions and then pop out a bunch of exercises with one special feature that you'll see real soon. Like I said in the rules, we're gonna do 6 days or 6 different training sessions. We're gonna hit continue. And now you get to this very special page. You have muscle group priorities, you have the emphasize, you have the grow, and then you have the maintain. But you can see that the emphasize has these 3 little tickers. We're gonna be able to prioritize these muscles for maximum growth, adding potential high amounts of volume if you're responding well and recovering well. Okay, so with that, we're gonna hit the plus icon. And like I said earlier, we're gonna train the upper back, we're gonna try to train the quads, and we're gonna try to train the shoulders at that max volume, the most amount of emphasis on these 3 exercises. Okay, so now you have the back, the quads, and the shoulders. So now it knows that's the priority. Actually, it does want to prioritize high to low. So we're going to move the shoulders up because it's really, my priority is really back, shoulders, quads. Then we're going to move on to grow. Now I still want my chest to grow. So we're going to pick that one very first. We want to have my hamstrings also grow. We're gonna put that second, right? So the back of the legs. And then lastly, because I know that my biceps can take a lot of volume, that's why I'm putting them in the grow category, because not only will my biceps grow from back, but then when we go to maintain, my triceps will still grow from chest that we're trying to grow. This is a really good strategy for me in particular. It might be the case for you also. Your triceps can't take as much volume. Like when I try to emphasize chest and triceps, my elbows start to really hurt. Whereas if I train chest, a little bit about triceps, and then I train biceps on their own, my elbows feel dandy and good, and I don't feel like I have this ginormous pain going through my elbow at the end of the cycle. So just those 3 exercises, and add those to growth. And then last but not least, we're just gonna put everything else in maintain. Our glutes first, actually, then the triceps, abs, forearms. Ooh, I forgot about traps actually. I did forget about traps. I forgot the traps are in here. Wow, this is throwing me for a loop. I'm actually going to go back over here and I'm going to add trap. Oh, it looks like I have to cancel from the other one. So we're going to trash that. We care the least about abs because I have good abs. We're going to care a little more about forearms. And then we're going to add traps in here. I completely forgot about traps. We're going to bump this up all the way up to chest because traps are kind of like the back and kind of like the shoulders a little bit. So I'm actually going to put that all the way up there. And there you go. So now we're emphasizing the back, the shoulders, the quads, then the traps, the chest, the hamstrings, then the biceps. And then last but not least, we want to keep a little bit of volume in the glutes, the triceps, the forearms, and the abs. All right, with that being done, let's move on. Hit next. Cool, so now it's getting everything ready for me. All right, so now this thing has popped out a program for every day of the week, Monday through Saturday. What we're gonna do in here, we're just gonna leave this as add a label because that's gonna make it so it's just day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, all the way to 6. So we had 3 exercises that we were trying to prioritize, if you remember correctly, the back, the shoulders, and the quads. So it's gonna hit back, shoulders, quads, then back again, and then shoulders again. Why is it doing this? Because back is the biggest priority. So it's starting 3 different workouts with back at the very top, starting 2 workouts with shoulders at the very top, and then 1 workout with the quads at the very top. Essentially, this day, what would be day 4, almost an entire leg day. So 2 quad exercises, then a hamstring exercise, and then you're finishing off with some triceps. What you'll notice, for example, is after I do those triceps on day 4, for example, day 5 doesn't have anything to do with chest, and it doesn't have anything to do with tricep. Even day 6 has nothing to do with triceps, nothing to do with chest, nothing, neither one, right? The app itself is programming it in a way, by the time you hit that next muscle group, you won't really need to have anything else constricting that muscle group from recovering for the next time. You hit triceps 1 time at the end of day 1 and 1 time at the end of day 4. But really, again, prioritizing the back in a lot of these exercises, we can see that back, it takes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 exercises. Shoulders takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exercises. And then quads takes up 1, 2, and 3 exercises. Traps takes up 2 of them, and then everything else looks like it takes either 2 or 1. In fact, it looks like I'm only training chest 1 time, even though it's telling me to grow. Even though that's on grow, it's only training it 1 time. Very interesting. As I said before, there is a really easy way to get started, because right now I would have quite a bit of exercises to program, and even some of these are popping out 5 exercises. I think I'm okay with that because it's triceps, it's forearms, and it's abs at the end of some of these, so that's kind of like really easy enough, and it's no big deal. And if I also want to add a little bit more chest, I'll show you guys how we're going to be able to do that here any second. If I wanted to pick all of these exercises on my own, I could, but then that would make this video super freaking long, and I know you don't want that because I don't want that. There is a much better way to do this, and I'm going to show you that right now. In this very top right corner, there's going to be a little lightning bolt. If I hit this lightning bolt, it's going to autofill all of my exercises. So I'm going to hit autofill exercises, and it's going to say fill in empty exercises, replace the existing exercises. If it says fill in the empty exercises and replace the existing exercises, we leave that off. For example, on Monday would be like a good day to start deadlift. The quad day would be a good day to add an overhead squat. Now, overhead squats are not actually going to show up. We're going to add it in, and we're going to create a custom exercise. So we're going to do overhead squat because we're going to put it under the quad category. It's going to train the quads, even though it's a shoulder overhead movement that I'm going to be making my shoulders work really hard. So we're going to create that exercise, and now I'm able to select it and add it in to my day 1. 2 home workouts look really good for this day 3 and this day 6 because those are ab days. Oh, a reaching setup. I remember what these are. That's fine. I'm going to put that in there. And then for the other ab exercise, then we can do a V-up. That works great. All right. Now with those little prerequisites added in, we have a couple of more things that we want to make sure we get in there. So we're going to put those in as well. And then we're going to try to let this thing auto choose everything else. On day 3, which is a home exercise, we're going to go to chest, and we're going to pick a dumbbell chest press in some variety or shape. Now, just to make it a little bit harder, we're going to do a dumbbell press incline that usually is like 30 degrees or 45 degrees. You can go on an incline as little as 15 degrees if you want, and it'll work a lot of your upper chest and a lot of your lower chest.
Having an amazing workout is of course fantastic and very necessary if you're going to make your best gains, but there's a couple supplements that I would suggest that everybody takes out there to make sure that they're meeting their protein needs and their creatine needs. Thankfully for me, Legion sends me creatine gummies and creatine monohydrate that I eat or put in my shake at all times, and of course that shake is Legion based as well. This is strawberry cheesecake, but my favorite is actually cookies and cream. Use the link in my bio or use my coupon code Brotero to get BOGO 50% off your next sale. Let's get back to the video right now.
But that 30 or 45 might work a little bit more upper chest. One of the ways we're going to add some chest workouts is we are going to do a high incline chest press. That's going to fatigue the chest a little bit, let me go a little lighter on the dumbbell press incline in a really nice way while adding a little bit more chest volume, almost making day 3 a bit of a chest day, if you will. Because we're going to do a high incline with the chest press thing, we're going to add in the Arnold press. It has been so long since I've done an Arnold press. I'm going to go ahead and click this upper little purple lightning bolt, and I'm going to let it fill out the rest. Do I want it to replace the existing exercises? No. Okay, so it kept the deadlift in there, it kept the reaching setup in there, the V up in there, basically almost like the entire deadlift, the entire day 3 in there. Really interestingly enough, it actually picked a great workout for the glutes on that one particular day. So if we're just continuing to work on day 3, I don't have a lot of things that can be good for glutes. Like if I went to exercise types and I said, okay, well, I can only really use dumbbells. I'm going to unselect everything except the dumbbell, and I'm going to hit apply, and it's going to give me Bulgarian split squat, dumbbell split squat, glute focus reverse lunge, single-handed deadlift. That's probably not ideal. I thought, well, sumo deadlift with 2 dumbbells would be a really good idea, but now that I'm looking at this list, I think a reverse lunge with my heaviest dumbbell, which is 66 pounds, would be really good for this exercise. So with that, we're basically done with day 3, one of the home workouts that I'm going to be doing here in my setup at home. Let's just go back to day 1, deadlift in there, a back exercise. What I think what really works well after doing deadlift is having the chance to just hang freely from a bar. This is giving me the assisted pull-up in normal. I'm gonna go ahead and just make it a regular pull-up. Nope. Okay. Yep, there we go. So pull-up, just to give myself a little bit of extra like bicep work, I'm gonna do an underhand grip pull-up. Then we're going to move on to shoulders. Since I'm doing a lot of back and I'm doing a lot of pull up, I'm going to do some sort of a rear delt. Dumbbell face pull inclines. In fact, this is a good time to show you guys what this is. So he's inclined on the bench. That's another cool part about RP Strength. They're going to give you, if it's in their library already, they're going to likely have a video on YouTube that demonstrates to you exactly what the movement looked like. Next is we have the quads. The deadlift was a really powerful compound movement, right? It hits the back, the core, everything. You have to be completely rigid to be lifting some heavy deadlifts. So we're not gonna do some sort of a back squat. We're not gonna do like a front squat, which is like pulling me down a lot with some heavy weight. What I actually would prefer to do, more of like a sissy squat, assisted, without the machine, with the machine. It's gonna take off all the weight from my back because I'm not gonna hold anything. I'm just gonna hit like really high rep sissy squats, something in like the 15 to 25 rep range, because that point in the workout, I'm fatigued from the deadlifts, I'm fatigued from the pull-ups, I'm fatigued from the dumbbell lateral raise, and this is a really good movement that I don't have to load, that can give me a lot of stimulus to my quads. Other ways that we can add more chest work is with the exercise that it's exactly giving me now, normal standard dip, just a regular tricep dip. And I'm gonna just select that. Now I might just make it a little bit more on my chest when I'm actually training it, keep it a little bit more on the triceps. Either or, it's gonna work the chest, it's gonna work the shoulders, and it's gonna work the triceps. So this particular day one is gonna be lots of compound stuff where I'm moving almost like my entire body. And besides the dumbbell lateral raise, not a lot of isolation. We're going to day two. And remember, day one was the pull-ups, which is a vertical pull. So on day two, what I'd like to do is hit more of a horizontal pull, right? So I'm doing more rowing, I'm doing more horizontal, sitting up on somewhere and pulling the machine back. Now we just did left lift yesterday, so my back is probably pretty shot. So I don't want to do anything where I have to hold a barbell over or hold some sort of a good morning, like the barbell row to chest. So what instead I'm going to do is try to find an exercise where my chest is actually supported so that I can pull hard without having to move my lower back a lot or hold myself up from my legs. So with that, I'm just going to pick chest supported row and start the back day. Same thing here. I'm going to use for the second exercise some sort of a horizontal pull. The hammer machine row sometimes is taken, but there is a couple variations that I could do. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to go with a Smith machine shrug. Now, one thing to really say super fast here is if I select all these exercises and they end up being like, don't feel good or it hurts my joints or whatever on like day one, I'm going to be feeling these out. And if they really do feel like that, then I'll just replace it with something else. This is cool on paper, but it doesn't mean that once this is written, that's all I'm going to do. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And there's no variation allowed. I'm going to look into it and I'm going to see, okay, does this feel good? No, it doesn't at all. All right, let me switch and try something else. And then I just switch the exercise in the middle of the meso. Next up is more bicep work. So it actually kicked me into a barbell curl narrow grip. I'm actually like that. I like that. I haven't done a barbell curl with a narrow grip in forever. Never trained forearms. I legitimately never do this. I'm just gonna try it. Never tried it before where I stand like this and I flex down or flex up. I'm not sure yet. I'm just gonna add that in there. Like I said, I never trained forearms. So then we have day 3, which we already programmed. Let's go over to day 4. We already have programmed the overhead squat. So we need to come up with something else that trains the quads. But again, we want to make sure we take a lot of force off the back or a lot of fatigue off the back because I'm trying to train back so hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to quads and I'm going to find something where I can sit comfortably and extend my legs. Yeah, so the good old leg extension, they honestly give me a great pump and it's not hard to set up purely because it's usually on some sort of a pegging system. Pegging system, my bad, dude. You just stick the pin in or lower the pin in, and it's really easy. Not a lot of setup versus if you have a barbell, you got to load. That takes forever. Remember, we're trying to be efficient with how long we're in the gym. It's really hard to train hamstrings in a cycle for me without doing dumbbell stiff-legged deadlifts or doing leg curls. The whole process here is to hit the back. Say, well, let's take some pressure off the back because I'm doing it the next day, right? I'll have a double back workout, back on day 5. But here's the thing. I took a whole entire day of rest, and to hit my hamstrings and also hit my glutes, which are not going to get hit for 1, 2, 3 days, 3 total days, because they'll be hit a little bit in the back with the deadlift. Instead of just isolating my hamstrings, I would much rather do some sort of a good morning, like the dumbbell stiff-legged deadlift. Again, a really easy setup because I can just go from dumbbells to dumbbells to dumbbells to dumbbells. Not a lot of time. Versus if I was to load a barbell good morning on a Smith machine or on a freestanding rack, dude, that takes so much more time. And again, it's crushing me versus the hamstring dumbbell stiff-legged deadlifts. I can just do with a lot less pressure coming down on my spine. I can only do one exercise for triceps ever for the rest of my life. The easiest thing and the best thing for me to do is always just cable pushdowns rather. Cable pushdowns like are just always the simplest, easiest, fastest, most comfortable, least awkward. Like I could do those every freaking mesocycle and I would not like bat an eye because it's just good old reliable. It hits the triceps. I can make them sore. It never feels stale. I always can get a pump. It's just the best. Like it to me is the best exercise for triceps by far. So it's another day where we're gonna hit back and traps. We want to switch up sort of the order a little bit. We did one day of deadlift with a vertical pull and then another day of double row. So we want to make sure we have some sort of a vertical pull. And what's easier in the vertical pull than just going and doing a pull down of some variety? So what we'll do is, because we're doing a underhand grip on Monday, or day one I should say, on day 5, why don't we do a normal grip instead of the underhand or anything that's parallel? We just do a regular normal grip pull down. Really easy, super simple. The next is we have another back exercise. We're gonna be hitting vertical back with the dumbbell stiff-legged deadlifts, or sorry, horizontal back with stiff-legged deadlifts, because I'm holding those dumbbells in place. And I'm holding the overhead squat, which gets my upper back in a really, really tight, isolated position, which can be some form of muscle growth, which can cause some form of muscle growth. So what I want to do is find something that's kind of like a hybrid of a vertical pull and a horizontal pull, but mostly a vertical pull. And what's better than doing just a hammer machine high row, since the other day we were doing the low row? It just makes sense to me. That to me just makes sense, so that's what I'm gonna do. Hammer machine high row, not super hard to set up, usually just a few plates and you're good to go. And then last but not least, the traps again. One of the trap workouts that I thought about doing was a cable side shrug or a cable shrug, but usually the cable machines are almost like not heavy enough. So I think what I want to do is do a single arm dumbbell leaning shrug, and that looks something like this. You hold a dumbbell at your side and you just one dumbbell at a time. The goal here is probably to go pretty heavy, something in like the 50 to 80 category, and get less reps, purely because anytime you're doing two sides, right, you're doing a single arm or you're doing some sort of single arm, single leg movement, two sides to do and nearly twice as much volume, so that can rack up time. So we want to keep the reps somewhere between 8 and 15, not really more than that. So going too low on weight and getting in the 20s like we would with maybe like tricep pushdowns, I don't really want to do that. We want to keep these reps low, so we'll end up going heavy. Then we already, it had already programmed cable wrist curls. Go back to cable wrist curls on day 2, grip roller, and I'm gonna take it away from day 2 and I'm gonna move it to day 6. All I gotta do is come over here and move that to day 6. So now I actually have, I almost like this better, right? I have 5, 4, 5, 4, 4, 5. Let's repeat the 5 again, but again, this exercise, this day should be still pretty simple and pretty easy, even with the grip roller coming down. Although that makes us train forearms twice in a row. So maybe I take the forearms and I move it over here, and then this day has 3. Could move the abs over here. Yeah, because biceps, then forearms. Yeah, I like that. We're gonna program day 6. Nothing hits the shoulders better. Just a basic dumbbell lateral raise. I have the dumbbells at home. It's just easy to start off and then, get warm and do a lot of them. Let's do super ROM, right? So super ROM means that you're gonna bring the dumbbells all the way up to your head, touch them together, and then bring them back down. So then to keep things, like I said, really simple, I just realized I didn't even have any chest workouts. That's what I want to do. We'll just go heavier. Like say the dumbbell lateral raises with super ROM are like all the way up, and then the next ones that are heavier are just to the sides. That's a lot of dumbbell side lateral raises. After doing some thinking that I could do barbell upright rows with, because I do have 5s that I could load onto it, so I could progress just a little bit between 45 pounds and then 55 pounds. But in those first 2 weeks, I would just do 45 pounds, progress on reps, and then I would jump up to 55 pounds and progress in weight and then reps again. So that's a really good idea, and I really like that. So we're gonna go barbell upright row. I love that. While we're doing barbell curls, Let's do good old reliable. Dumbbell curl incline. One of my favorite exercises. Easy setup, lots of fucking stretch at the bottom, and usually just a great pump. And then, like I said, at the very least, we have the grip roller, which I don't think they have a video for, but now I'm curious if they do. Oh, they do. Yes, this is it right here. This is what a grip roller is. You basically have this tool that you let hang all the way down, and then you roll it up, and as you roll up, the twisting of your wrists is going to be flexing your forearms in a big fun way, and you can just do that like 4 or 5 times, and it can get pretty tough. So what you do is every time you go up and every time you go down, it's 1 repetition. And so at the end of this, you really only need like 3 or 4 reps, and it's actually a pretty efficient way. You don't really need a warm up for this. You just get right into it. That's a pretty sweet exercise. I'm glad they have a video for it. That's actually quite cool. Very awesome. So with that, that's it. That's going to be my workout plan for the next 4 weeks. Let me go ahead and show you what happens once I hit create Mesocycle. So up here at the top right corner, we're going to hit create Meso. It's going to ask me for a name. So we're going to do back and shoulders Baki inspo, because we're trying to look like Baki. And then it asks you, how many weeks will you train, including your deload? So including that deload phase, that last week of training where I take it easy, I'm going to be at 5 weeks. I want 4 weeks of training, 1 week of deload, then 4 weeks of training. I obviously live in America. Shout out Orlando, Florida. What units do you use for measuring weight? So that's going to be pounds. And then I'm going to hit create. And then it's just going to pop it all out for me. Then you have every single day written out. So it's going to have your deadlift, your pull-up, your dumbbell lateral raise. You got the sissy squats, and then you have your dips all there for you to look at and add weights to. You can have day 2, day 3, day 4, and you can just select all of these different days and see what you have going on in the future. But if you go to week 2, you'll see that nothing is programmed yet, because that's exactly what I meant by telling you that Mike is in your pocket. It's going to take feedback from you, and then it's going to program the next week based on your feedback. Some of the feedback that you're going to give it is going to be, how sore is your back? Did your back get a pump? Did it feel like you had to do a lot of work or not a lot of work? Was it easy? Was it hard? Could you do more sets next time? If you answer yes or no, or whatever the question prompts you, it's going to affect the following weeks after that. And it's going to give you a chance to really lock in and improve week to week without overshooting the mark on how much you train and how hard you train, which can lead to accumulating the fatigue too quickly and not getting the results that you might want to see. This app is amazing, and I don't know any other app that does this. Use my code from the bio, Brotero, to get yourselves a discount, and use something that helps you every single day of training. Forget notebooks. Forget an Excel spreadsheet. Don't do any of that. This app comes at a low cost for the year, and it's gonna be in your back pocket everywhere you go. It's a no-brainer. Sign up for the RP Strength app today. And so frankly, with that being said, I'm not gonna go ahead and add weight yet, because I wanna see how I feel on day 1 when I go over there. In fact, right after this, and I start putting weights on the bar and find out, okay, how much should I really deadlift for 5 to 10 reps, which is still in hypertrophy range. All right, how much do I weigh? I know I weigh 183, so I'll put that into the pull-ups. My dumbbell lateral raise inclines are probably going to be very light. Sissy squats, again, same thing, enter my body weight. Dips, again, enter my body weight, but then add the weight into it. So if I'm 183 pounds, which is what I was this morning, and I add 10 pounds to my body, I'm going to write in 193. And then that is going to populate for the following weeks and tell me how much to increase in weight or how much to increase in reps. Again, this app is phenomenal, and I highly recommend you at least try it 1 time. Let me know how you like it in the comments below after you get the app with my code. Seriously though, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I love making videos like this with you guys and sharing my knowledge and the things that I know about bodybuilding and training so that you get more muscle on your body by the second. My name is Andres, but you guys can of course always call me bro. And until next time, peace.